Hey guys, my name is Eugene and I switched to Samsung A51 from my Redmi Note 8 Pro, which I used for 6 months. And if you are my subscriber, then you probably saw my review of Redmi. Samsung is $100 more expensive, and probably after switching to it, I should have get better experience from using it because of its price. But this is not quite so, and in this video I will tell you why. Let's get started. Well, firstly, I want to say that despite the fact that I'm doing a review just now, I bought this smartphone a long time ago, on January 31st, 2020, and paid 343 euros for it. And in my opinion, this is a lot for such phone. Now it costs less. On AliExpress I saw prices at about $290. I will leave referral links in the description for the best prices that I found. Therefore, look there if you're interested in this smartphone, and in this way you will also support my channel. Well, as soon as I took Samsung for everyday use after Redmi, I realized that Samsung is much more comfortable to hold in my hand. It's smaller in all physical parameters, thinner and narrower, but the screen is almost the same size as the Redmi Note 8 Pro. Therefore, there is no feeling in the loss of screen size. In general, the phone feels quite compact and convenient compared to Redmi Note 8 Pro. What I want to say more, as you all probably already know from many reviews, the back panel of this phone is plastic, or they call it elastic, so I didn't want to risk and scratch this phone because I still have to sell it later. I bought a silicone case for myself. It's cheap, for short use, because I won't use this smartphone for a long time, but I don't advise you to buy such cases. All because what? Because of the fact that they stretch over time, dust and dirt gets under them, and the phone gets even more scratched because of this. But for these months of use, nothing terrible happened to my Samsung, neither on the back nor on the front. There are no terrible scratches. Very small dots appeared, but they are so small that I can't even show them on camera. Samsung advertises A-series phones as awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life.
Awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life.
So let's talk about these three components, but I will also add software here because this is a very important point that I want to talk with you about. The screen is really very cool. As soon as you look at it, you have no questions. You just understand that this is a really high-level display. Super AMOLED, Full HD+, excellent colors, and in addition, colors can be adjusted in the settings. Viewing angles, brightness, no complaints at all. And I would even say this is the best component that can be found in A51. Of course, the display here is better than in Redmi Note 8 Pro. In addition, I like the cutout for the front camera. It's very compact and absolutely does not make any problems while reading, playing or making any task on the screen. After turning on A51, of course, I started setting up the phone, and here's what I'll tell you. I set it to full screen mode, that is to work without buttons, turned off Bixby, rearranged all the buttons on the top, installed a bunch of applications, set up my accounts, turned on always on display for the time of the day. At night I turned it off. Tried to find the vibration on the Samsung keyboard, but didn't find it. I had to install the Google keyboard because there is a vibro setting. And for the time I did this, and then in future use, I noticed constant lagging. And I thought, really? Everyone who uses this smartphone does not complain about it? I began to search for the solving of this problem and found this. It turned out that the smartphone lags less with the Android buttons mode. It's better to use the phone with buttons. So I turned off full screen mode, and besides that, I also accelerated the animation in the developers options. And everything really began to work faster. But I cannot call this phone fast after Redmi Note 8 Pro. Here are a few examples for you. See how the image is rotated in comparison with Redmi? How the search in the settings takes place? How the fingerprint scanner works? You see that this phone is slower. And besides, there were such bugs. Well, firstly, as soon as I unpacked the phone and connected the Bluetooth headphones, the sound was transmitted with terrible interruptions. But thank God it was fixed with the update. Now with the Bluetooth connection, everything is okay. Secondly, there was a bug for some reason. It happened that all or almost all the apps icons disappeared from the screen, and it was cured by rebooting the smartphone. And maybe 5 times it happened that I tried to unlock the phone using a fingerprint scanner. I put my finger on it, and then there is a black screen for 5 seconds and the phone needs to be unlocked again. And here's another bug with volume. Look at what is going on here. Rebooting cured this problem. This phone is quite buggy. Honestly, I did not even expect that here will be even more bugs than in cheap Xiaomi Redmi Note 8 Pro. I think that Samsung should tackle software more seriously. But except for these bugs that I told you about, this Samsung interface is spinning more or less normally. Oh, and I also forgot to say about another annoying thing, a proximity sensor, which sometimes does not turn off the screen during a conversation, because proximity sensor turns off the screen very closely, and accordingly the cheek does what it wants on the screen. But I want to note that this happened, well, probably 4, maybe 5 times in this month, so this is not very critical. Now let's talk about the awesome camera, or cameras, because there are as many as 5 of them if you count with the front camera. Firstly, I want to say that I had a video where I compared iPhone 11 cameras with this phone. If you haven't seen that video and you are interested in it, then be sure to watch it by clicking on I button at the top. Compared with the Redmi Note 8 Pro, then the main camera here may be even better in some aspects, but the wide-angle camera is definitely better than in Redmi. Here are the examples of photos. Samsung is on the left and the Redmi is on the right. The photos are very similar. Colors of the Samsung main model look like the real colors that I see with my own eyes. Note that Redmi and Samsung work well with the frame exposure. Night shots on both devices suffer, but Samsung takes a slightly more readable picture. If you look through this window, you can see a bit more details. But in Redmi, Google Camera can be installed, and that improves the picture quality of Note 8 Pro, and there are less noise and more details. I like the wide-angle camera more on Samsung. Yes, it gives out completely unnatural colors, they are oversaturated, but Redmi picture from a wide angle is even worse, and in addition there are problems with exposure. These are examples of photos that were taken with the macro camera, and I'll say right away that I did like it and I consider it absolutely useless in a smartphone. Here are the comparisons. On the left, just a crop from the main camera, and on the right, a photo from a macro camera. Well, firstly, the macro does not work well with the exposure and the colors are absolutely wrong. In short, if it were my will, I would replace this camera with a telephoto with at least 2 times zoom. Okay, now let's talk about long-lasting battery life. I had a test on the channel with the participation of this smartphone. Be sure to look at this test if you're interested in such tests. The A51 showed a very good battery result. For almost an hour it lasted longer than Redmi Note 8 Pro. But in real life, in real battle, this phone does not show such a result. Well, at least for me, 3.5 till 5 screen on time hours. I cannot say that this is a lot. Maybe my specific applications drain battery so fast. Please write in the comments how many hours of the screen you get if you are the owner of this device. My result is about 4 hours. This phone is charged with standard charging in 1 hour and 50 minutes. The first half hour is 34%. My conclusion: when I took the Samsung A51 as my daily driver after Redmi Note 8 Pro, I realized that the Samsung is much more convenient in dimensions, but Redmi is faster. Redmi seems to have fewer bugs in the firmware. Games are better. I played Call of Duty and Asphalt 9, and Samsung sometimes freezes and lags. It is annoying. Of course you can play, but it shouldn't be like that. Also, in my real use, Xiaomi showed a better battery result than the Samsung, and Samsung is more expensive. $100 is a lot, and I can explain this price difference by 3 points. Well, first of all, the AMOLED screen in Samsung is clearly better. Secondly, a wide-angle camera. Samsung is also ahead here. Well, and the third, this is Samsung. It is brand. I have nothing to add here. And if I had to choose between these two devices, I would choose Redmi Note 8 Pro. Because of its price, better firmware, Gorilla Glass back, almost the same camera, better battery life, and because of its speed. What would you choose? Write about it in the comments. I hope you enjoyed my video and it was useful for you. My name is Eugene. If you didn't know, subscribe to my channel if you didn't yet. Have a nice day. Всем добра!